All my judges are ready. The timer? If you missed Shakespeare's 450th birthday, you can be sure he'd have a zinger of a put-down to sling your way. He might insult you with, "Thou art a boil, a plague sore," or perhaps, "Thou art a loathsome toad." No, he might be more aloof, as Orlando was, in As You Like It, and say, "I do desire we may be better strangers." You may have missed his birthday, but all across the world, millions of people pause to acknowledge it. But why? What is it that made this son of an ordinary leather merchant, a man without a university degree, such an enduring figure? How did he manage to possess such a wealth of insight into the range of human nature? Why have his plays endured for so long? To find out, I'll begin by answering the question, who was this creative genius? Then I'll examine what it was that made him such an enduring figure. And finally, just for fun, I'll compare Shakespeare's works with the King James Bible. You might be surprised to find out how often these two are confused. Unless otherwise attributed, my information comes from Amanda Millard's Why Study Shakespeare, Biography.com's Biography of Shakespeare, and the Riverside Shakespeare. Although Shakespeare is known all over the world, to many historians, his personal life is somewhat of a mystery, known by many nicknames, such as the Bard of Stratford, and the Swan of Sharp. William Shakespeare was born in Stratford-upon-Avon, a town about 100 miles west of London. Most scholars believe he was born on or near April 23, 1564, the third son of John Shakespeare, a middle-class leather merchant. Because his father was an alderman, Shakespeare probably qualified for free tuition at the King's School in Stratford. One thing we do know for certain is Shakespeare did not go to university. It is because of his lack of higher education that many question whether he really could have written the works that he did. Shakespeare married Anne Hathaway in 1585 and had a daughter, Susanna, and set of twins, Judith and Hamlet. Yes, Hamlet, not Hamlet. Shakespeare moved to London in the late 1580s and may have first worked as a horse attendant at a London theater. Who would have thought that this literary genius got his start in London shoveling horse poop? Being upwardly mobile, by the 1590s, Shakespeare was no longer moving manure. He was writing and acting in plays. He had already written 15 of his 37 plays by 1597, including Romeo and Juliet, Comedy of Errors, and The Merry Wives of Windsor. In addition to being a great playwright, Shakespeare designed and oversaw the construction of the Globe Theatre, the largest open-air theater London had ever seen, and was the managing partner of the theater company called Lord Chamberlain's Mint. Not only that, in 1603, King James himself became their patron, changing their name to the King's Mint. Yes, this is the same King James who has a Bible name for him. More on that later. Shakespeare's plays are separated into histories, comedies, tragedies, and tragic comedies. Shakespeare's characters portray a vivid description of human nature that is timeless and universal. That's why so many of his plays have been performed in modern settings or used as a plotline for modern novels. Set Hamlet in the Animal Kingdom, and you have Disney's The Lion King. Or add street slang and music and dancing, and suddenly Romeo and Juliet is West Side Story. Shakespeare was also a poet, writing 154 sonnets and several narrative poems. Perhaps you know Sonnet 18. Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? Thou art more lovely and more temperate. What could be more romantic? Tradition says Shakespeare died on his birthday, April 23rd, 1660, giving a convenient symmetry to his life. When he died, his wife Anne Hathaway had fallen out of his favor. In his will, he left everything to his daughter Susanna. He did leave his wife one thing, his second best bed. Now that we've talked about the life of this creative genius, let's look at another question. What was it that made Shakespeare such an enduring figure? One writer put it like this: Homer told of adventure and men at war. Sophocles and Tolstoy told of tragedy and people in trouble. Mark Twain told comedic stories. Dickens told melodramatic ones, and Hans Christian Andersen told fairy tales. But Shakespeare told every kind of story: comedy, tragedy, history, melodrama, adventure, love story, and fairy tale. And each one of them so well that he became immortal. In all the world of storytelling, Shakespeare has become the greatest name. But why? Perhaps it is the way he has enriched our English language. Even if you've never read one of his sonnets or seen a play, even if you've never so much as watched a movie adaptation, you're likely to have quoted him unwittingly. It's almost impossible to avoid. If you've ever been in a pickle, waited with bated breath, or gone on a wild goose chase, you've been quoting The Tempest, The Merchant of Venice, and Romeo and Juliet. Next time you refer to jealousy as the green-eyed monster, you'll be quoting Othello's arch-villain Iago. Allow yourself to gossip, and you're quoting Midsummer Night's Dream. But it's not just catchy phrases that make Shakespeare endure. Shakespeare helps us put into words feelings we have trouble expressing. Shakespeare scholar Amanda Mabillard said it like this: Shakespeare's ability to summarize the range of human emotion in simple, yet profoundly eloquent verse is perhaps the greatest reason for his enduring popularity. If you cannot find words to express how you feel about love, or music, or growing older, Shakespeare can speak for you. No author in the Western world has penned more beloved passages. Perhaps Shakespeare endures because of the way other artists have drawn inspiration from him. It's not surprising that he inspired writers throughout the ages. But what about painters, composers, and even choreographers? The French Romantic composer Hector Berlioz says his encounter with Shakespeare was a supreme turning point in his life. Ballet choreographers have been rating Shakespeare's plays for more than 3 centuries. And painters can't stay away either. The painting of Ophelia by John Everett Millais is thought to be one of the most famous of the pre-Raphaelite paintings. Even songwriter Nick Lowe's 1970s smash hit, Cruel to Be Kind, took its title from lines Hamlet addressed to his mother. Now, I told you we would compare Shakespeare's works with the King James Bible. For many, the Bible and the collected works of Shakespeare are 2 indispensable books. But besides sitting side by side on a bookshelf, what do these 2 books really have in common? Consider this. Shakespeare died in the year 1660, nearly 5 years after the King James Bible was published. Many like to speculate that he helped with the translation. There are several websites and books that allege Shakespeare even slipped his name into the text of Psalm 46. The story goes like this. Shakespeare was born in the year 1564, which means he would have been 46 in the year 1610 when the King James Bible was being finalized. If you look in the King James Version of Psalm 46 and you count 46 words from the top, you read the word shake. And if you omit the word Selah and you count 46 words from the bottom, you read the word spear. Voila! If that weren't enough, Shakespeare's name is an anagram. For here I am, like a song. Well, as interesting as that may be, there's no real evidence showing Shakespeare had any part in the writing of the King James Bible. But there certainly is a connection between the Bible and the collected works of Shakespeare. Quotability. You be the judge. Neither a borrower nor a lender be. Hamlet or Proverbs? Hamlet. Out of the mouths of babes, Shakespeare or Psalms? Psalms. How sharper than a serpent's tooth is it to have a thankless child? Bible or bard? Bard. How about this? Put a knife to thy throat if thou be a man given to appetite. Bard or Bible? Ding, 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 Bible. Naturally, my audience may find more eternal value in the Bible than in the collected works of Shakespeare. But no one can deny the bard's ability to shed light on life's biggest questions. So, the next time you want to play fast and loose, or find yourself a little bit tongue-tied, pick up a copy of Shakespeare. You too might find a timeless truth, or at least a good creative insult. Thank you. Thank you so much for judging. Thank you for judging. Thank you for judging. What was my time?
10:55.
Okay, great.